Trails in the Sky First Chapter Remake is really something special. I honestly went in knowing I was going to love this game. Before I jump into my review and give you all the details of everything I played, I want to give you a little bit of background of my Trails story, where I started in the series, where I'm at now, and how all of this came about and how I got into the series in the first place. So I went down a couple of Reddit threads after being really interested in Cold Steel and those games, and everybody's recommending these JRPGs to me. I decided to go ahead and start at the very first game because that's the way. That's definitely the way. I was really interested in the whole thing, and I'm one of those people that wants to start at the very beginning. I want all the story details. I want all the world building and lore. I don't want to feel left out in any way, shape, or form. I jumped into Sky and I was immediately impressed. Trails in the Sky First Chapter is just one of the best setups to any series I've ever played. The world building and lore and everything around it is just so perfectly executed, and it feels like a living, breathing world. This started about 2 years ago where I jumped into that game and I just flew through the first Trails in the Sky trilogy. I was so hooked, and the cliffhangers at the end of each one of those games, it just keeps you hooked. You have to keep going. And then I moved right into Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure. I then took a long break before starting Cold Steel because I had a lot of other games to play. Then the remake was announced and I'm like, well, I gotta go play the remake. And so now I'm going back and I'm playing Trails in the Sky First Chapter Remake and revisiting one of my favorite games of all time. And what an experience this is. It's amazing, truly something special. And I just want to give a shout out to Gung Ho America for giving me an early review code of this game so I can give you my impressions in my review before the game releases, so you guys know to just go out and buy this game. It's really that good. This is a must-play JRPG for any fan of the genre. And with all that said, let's jump right into my review. There are remakes that polish a game, and then there are remakes that feel like they've breathed entirely new life into something you already love. Playing the remake of Trails in the Sky First Chapter honestly left me a little stunned. I went in expecting a huge upgrade, don't get me wrong, but what's been done here is truly incredible. I really didn't expect to walk away thinking, wow, this might actually be one of the best remakes I've ever played. Not just because it looks prettier or runs smoother, but because it really understands what made the original so special. And then it adds layers that make the whole experience feel richer, warmer, and more alive than ever before. It doesn't completely rewrite the story or spin the characters in some new direction. Instead, it's like the developers carefully laid out all the little pieces of Trails in the Sky and made sure each one fit together better than ever before. The result is something that feels both familiar and brand new. This is something really special, and I feel confident recommending it to anyone. Let's get into why I love it so much. The original Trails in the Sky FC was released back in 2004, and even though it eventually found its way west, it always carried that reputation of being a slow burn cult classic. Fans swore by it, but if you came in fresh years later, you could definitely feel the age in some of its systems. That's why this remake hit me so hard. It doesn't just preserve the spirit, it modernizes everything around it while keeping the soul perfectly intact. What I love most is that it embraces its trailsness. The world building, the dialogue heavy pacing, the little quirks that made Liberal feel like a place you actively live in, and that's what I always love most about these games. The original was the first Trails game I ever played. I started it up and thought, wow, this world and everything in it existed long before I got here. All the people here have stuff going on that doesn't involve me. This is a living, breathing world, and it's evident so much so that dialogue even changes as the story progresses with NPCs as new things happen. It's truly incredible. Now, I was definitely expecting the huge upgrade we got to the visuals, but wow, I'm still so impressed. The difference is night and day. Towns feel like they've been given this new life. Roland's cobblestone streets are beautiful. Bose's marketplace is bustling, alive, not just a background with NPCs standing around. Even the forests and dungeons, places I usually just trudged through before, now have little details that pull me in. Its art direction has been sharpened to make the world feel so welcoming. And the characters, finally they look the way I always imagined them in my head. Estelle, especially, her expressions match her personality now. That goofy confidence, that stubborn energy, the warmth that makes her one of the best JRPG protagonists ever. In the original, it was kind of like reading a book. You kind of had to project that onto her through the writing. Here, the game expresses it so well and makes every little exchange that much more fun. Let's dive into the combat a bit. This is where I realized just how serious this remake was. The old trail system was smart, but let's be honest, it could feel a little classic for lack of a better term. I actually think it holds up very well today, to be honest, but it has been reworked here for the better. The remake smooths it all out without losing what made it fun. Commands are snappy, battles flow quicker, and the animations give every art and craft more impact. It's the kind of system where even random battles just feel really fun. What I love is that it's still deeply tactical. You still have to think about court setups, about turn order, about whether to risk moving closer or holding back, but the pacing respects your time. It's never dragging, never wasting a turn. It feels like they trimmed the fat and let the core strategy breathe. There were times I actually looked forward to random encounters because I just wanted to mess around with different setups. That's not something I could honestly say about the original. Then there's the music. Trail's soundtrack has always been great, but hearing it reworked here hit me like a wave of nostalgia and discovery at the same time. Tracks like the Roland theme feel almost dreamlike now. I know I'll say this is the perfect way to start the series, but having played the original before made all of this hit so much harder. The battle themes are insane, the emotional tracks cut deeper, and there's just this richness in the instrumentation that makes you stop and listen and just want to take it all in. I caught myself just kind of chilling in different towns just to let the music sink in. That's the sign of a great remake soundtrack, not just recreating, but elevating, finding new ways to make old songs reignite your love for the game. So getting into one of my favorite additions here, and one of the most impactful if I'm being honest, and that's the voice acting. Trails has always had a lot of text, and while that worked, it's different when you actually hear Estelle's energy out loud. The casting is spot on. Estelle's optimism and fiery impulsiveness come through perfectly. Joshua's calm, collected side has that subtle edge to it, and each character feels alive in a way they never quite did before. It adds a dimension to scenes I thought I knew inside and out. Jokes land harder because the delivery sells them. Quiet moments feel more intimate because you can hear the pauses and the hesitation. Even the smaller side characters pop in ways I never expected them to. It makes the world feel really lived in, and having that be one of the best things about the original and then actually improving that on the remake just makes this that much better. The story itself hasn't been altered, but the way it's presented now makes it a bit more efficient. Trails in the Sky FC has always been this careful blend of slice of life coziness and larger political intrigue. It starts small, bracer guild missions, helping out locals, and then slowly building to something much bigger. What's brilliant is that the remake makes those smaller beats shine. Hanging out in town, talking to NPCs, joking around with Joshua, it all feels more meaningful when the voice acting and visuals are lifting it up the way they are. And that matters because Trails isn't just about big reveals, it's about falling in love with Liberal. It's about seeing Estelle and Joshua grow together and feeling those bonds between the cast really deepen. That foundation is what the entire series is built on, and the remake lets you really appreciate it without any distraction. I also love how many small tweaks they slipped in. Faster load times, autosave options, cleaner menus. Oh man, the UI is like near perfect. It's really incredible. Stuff that doesn't scream out for attention to most people that play the game, but it just makes playing the game all that much better. Even pacing wise, the early chapters don't drag as much. There's still trails, still that slow burn, but the presentation keeps you engaged where the original sometimes risked losing you. It's like the game keeps nudging you forward, not rushing you, but making sure you're always finding something new to be excited about. I loved that. If I had to criticize something, I don't know. It's really hard to do here because I love the game so much. But the sheer amount of dialogue, there is a lot, and those new to the series may be taken back by it. So it could potentially overwhelm some new people, but honestly, that's just Trails, and personally, I love it for that. And with the voice acting, it doesn't feel like a chore. I actually wanted to hear everything, and that's just how strong the performances are. And that's really why this remake hit me so hard. It doesn't try to reinvent anything. It just makes Trails in the Sky FC the best version of itself it could possibly be. It's respectful, it's thoughtful, and it's clearly made by people who love this game as much as the fans do. So yeah, I'm not exaggerating when I say this is one of the best remakes I've ever played in my life. It's faithful without being stiff, modern without losing its heart. If you've never played Trails before, this is hands down the version to start with, and if you already loved the original, this remake is going to feel like coming back home and finding that what you remember is even better than you remembered it for, and we all know that that's really hard to find these days. I could sit here and gush about this game forever, but I want to hear your thoughts too. Have you played the demo? How did it land for you? Are you planning to pick this one up when it launches? Let me know in the comments below. I can't wait to read all your thoughts, and until next time, I'm out.
Here we go! I'll make it hurt. Bad boys get punished. See? Feeling good! You're up, Joshua!
Better be prepared. Cut you down! Let's go!
Okay!
I won't let you!